Welcome to the Tunepact Podcast. I'm your host, the punk rock pop, Lee Pierce, and today we're going to be discussing creating platform-specific content for social media. And today we are lucky enough to have as a guest country music artist Paisley Fields. Paisley, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and talk to you. I've been looking forward to this all week, so I think it's going to be a fun conversation. Just gearing up for
Why don't
my...
you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you?
Yeah, so I'm a country artist. I live in New York. I'm originally from a small town in Iowa. Been put out 3 full-length records. I'm working on my 4th now, and I'm going to be touring in March to South by Southwest and doing a lot of touring this year, and just plan to be on the road a bunch. And I'm always writing new music and playing shows and doing that whole thing.
Well, that's good to hear. So the reason I had you on for this topic today is when I was first, you were suggested as a guest from a past guest that we had, a mutual friend of ours, Brian Cruz.
Yeah.
And when I started looking into you to learn more about you, it wasn't hard to do. Because as a marketer, I've got to be on every platform, the newest one, stuff people don't even know about yet, and I always got to get on there to check stuff out. And I found you everywhere. On every single platform, which is great. I mean, that shows your dedication to marketing and promotion and getting your music out there. But what surprised me the most, because a lot of artists do that, they'll get on every platform and bombard their social media the best they can. But what you do that a lot of artists don't do is you're creating content for each platform, maybe not for every single one, but you're very specific about what you're putting out there on each platform. And what are some things that you've learned about? Because, like I said, a lot of artists aren't doing that; they're just doing the bombarding. What have you learned while doing social media that got you to be doing the more platform-specific content like you do now?
I guess I just kind of have, tried out a few different things and see what works and see what feels, fun and good and engaging to me. And I'll talk with my team, especially if I have a new release coming out, and we'll come up with a plan together, where to focus on what. And so some of it's planned out, and then some of it's just sort of spontaneous. Like, I've been using Snapchat more lately, and that's really just sort of like day in the life thing. I'm sitting here, I'll take a quick video and post it and not really even think too deeply about it. Whereas, if I'm doing something on Instagram, it's usually a little more planned out. It might be, if we're shooting a video, we'll get a lot of behind the scenes content and kind of bank that and then release that slowly ahead of the actual release and tease it out that way. And then as the album cycle is happening, continue to, share more of that content and give people more of an insight of the, process of how we made whatever, the album, the video, the photo shoot, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. A lot of artists underestimate the importance of the little, like you're saying, your little behind the scenes, like, hey, this is what I'm up to, or this is what we're doing. Those behind the scenes videos, as just a music fan, every second of my life, there's music playing. There's got to be a soundtrack, and getting to see behind the scenes, the workings of just the artists that I enjoy, getting to see, it just gives you a more personal connection. And it's something that you don't have to plan for, because if you screw up while you're videoing it, well, that's kind of the point of the whole thing. This is the real me. I'm not done up. I'm just ready. I just rolled out of bed. I haven't even had my coffee yet.
Exactly.
Oops, I didn't say that right. I'm going to keep going. And that's the best part of the stuff that I see you put out there, is getting to the fans getting to connect with that. It's not scripted. It is what it is. And I think a lot of times when you look at your analytics and stuff that you don't plan gets the best, it gets the most hits, it gets the most views, it gets the most fan interaction and comments. So when you see stuff like that, do you end up, like you said, you've been doing more of the Snapchat. So does that affect, when you decide, I'm going to post on this platform today or this platform today, what what's the deciding factor when you're deciding what you're going to post on each platform?
I generally will try to post every day, at least when it's on Snapchat. And then if it's Instagram, I try to always keep something on the story, usually relevant to what I'm doing that day or what's coming up. Whether it's, if we're on tour, it'll be a little, maybe something from the van or something like from the show. If people are sharing videos from the show, we usually repost those. And I've been also looking at Blue Sky a little bit more, which I'm not good at. Really, I deleted my Twitter because I just had a breakdown. Was like, I can't use this anymore. X, whatever. So I've gone over to Blue Sky, but I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to use that platform. But yeah, I pretty much will just try to post every day. I know at least with Snapchat, they really push out people who are continually sharing new content.
Well, yeah, that's something a lot of people might not know too. Is the more so a lot of these platforms, the more content you're creating, of course, you got the better odds of ending up in someone's feed randomly. But
Yeah.
also, the more that you create, the more that these platforms will push your stuff, even if you don't
Right.
have a lot of followers or a lot of fan interaction, like shares, whatever. And I think that's an important thing. You create high quality content too. Maybe not as far as like quality, but like the quality of the content, what you're saying and what you're putting out there. Even the stuff you're shooting fast, like you said, you're like, I'll just throw something up on Snapchat. I know enough about you. I know it's not planned. That's just kind of off the cuff. You're just doing that, but it reads so well.
Thanks.
It really does. I mean, there's you like now. You're just smiling. You're sitting in your kitchen, and you're talking, and it reads so well, and you always seem to know. Like, yeah, I mean, you're good at social media. You create some great content, but the stuff you create is platform appropriate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean by that? Like, you always seem to know like what to post where. And I don't just mean like obviously, more copyright text-based stuff you're going to post like on a Blue Sky or an X, and more
Right.
photo stuff you're going to obviously post more on Instagram and reels and videos and vice, and all of
Sure.
that. But like you always seem to know what to put out and where and how to do it. Like, explain your process a little bit.
Well, a lot of it also is, seeing what other people are doing and seeing what works and talking to my team and talking to my friends and talking to other artists and, just kind of observing how other people do it as well as, seeing what works for myself. I mean, that's a big part of the process is just kind of continuing to tweak everything and to change a little bit if one thing isn't working, being like, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm not gonna post this specific thing anymore. I'll just like focus more on this and just kind of looking, listening, and seeing what people like. It varies a lot, and I kind yeah, just changing it up pretty regularly too.
Okay, so you're talking about research. It's so important with marketing and promotion for artists. Is get in there and see what other people are doing.
Yeah.
It's the old like I want what they have. Okay, how'd they do it? How'd they get it?
Yeah.
What did they do to get there? Nobody handed it to them.
Right.
And getting out there and seeing what other artists do, and make those connections and do the networking too. If you see someone, reach out to them. Say, hey, I'm an artist too, and I see this. You're doing this. Could you give me some pointers? That's kind of the point of our podcast here is
Yeah.
artists giving other artists advice, and we need to reach out to let them know they're doing a good job. And say, hey, I'm kind of admiring what you're doing. Could you give me some pointers? And flattery will take you a long way, man.
Yeah, and I think it helps everybody to just have those conversations because, there's a lot of in the industry. There's there's a lot of gatekeeping, and I think it's important for us as artists to stick together and have community in that sense, and have these conversations about, what's working for you, what's feeling good for you, what's not working for you. Like if they're, some artists that are on major labels will have huge social media teams and have a lot of money behind them. And a lot of us at the more independent level don't have access to all that. So you kind of see what they're doing. You talk to other people who maybe work in that space and make it work for yourself if you don't have a huge budget. Just everybody has a phone, and you can be creative and be inventive and have fun with it. And I think that's something that really comes through. I know, like, even just being on stage which is totally different from doing anything on social media, but being on stage, the audience responds to your energy and to your energy. And I think that comes through a lot on social media too, is you have to have fun with it. And if you're bored, or if it feels like annoying, it's probably gonna come through too,
Well, yeah, because when it comes down to it, if you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it.
Exactly.
And I even tell my guests, if any point during the episode you're like, I'm over this, that's cool. Because the point of it is to have fun, entertain,
Right.
and, like in this case, educate people as well. But yeah, no, I mean, you've got to enjoy it, and yeah, it definitely comes through. And people see that, whether it's on stage or it's promotional stuff that you're doing, you have to have that connection with the fans. That's for sure. And and you touched also a really good resource people forget is your fans, their videos. Their posts. Of course, you ask permission first, but who's going to be like, no, I just took this video of this artist that I like, and now they want to use it. Ooh, no, everybody's going to say yes.
Yeah, people love to
utilize the fans, and then it's another connection that you make too.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives them that feel like, and then they're going to share it, and then their friends are going to share that, and that can go a long ways. And it's no extra work for you other than reaching out and connecting with fans that you're going to be doing anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And it's another thing, it just feels like I try to see it more as, sharing a part of myself and a part of my art, as opposed to, pushing a promo campaign out or something. It's just sort of like, this is another part of the job of being an artist is, in this current world, we just are sharing more of ourselves, maybe sort of more of what some people might see as boring parts of our day, but just really sharing more, as opposed to being like, this is a marketing campaign where I'm pushing myself on you, because that just sort of, people don't want to be advertised to, especially when it comes to music. You want to have a connection with music and feel that, feel the passion and understand maybe where the artist is coming from when they're writing this song or when they're performing the song. And it just gives like a little more insight into the artist's life, I guess.
Well, and I think a lot of that comes from what comes with that is when you are sharing your life and the fans are getting to meet you and make that connection with you, which then of course they're gonna like your music more because they know where it's coming from. They can connect with the music as well. And when doing that, I see you're also big on the fan interaction and interacting with people on social media. Since you do that, do you notice a lot of like your demographic of fans? There's a big demographic, but obviously certain demographics use certain platforms. Are you noticing that with your fan interaction, the people that are commenting or liking posts or sharing certain demographics on certain platforms, and does that help you like decide what I'm going to put where? Because it gives you a better line on what type of content that demographic of your fan base would want.
Yeah, I definitely see, different demographics on different platforms. I don't know. I don't really like cater to a certain demographic when I'm posting. I just sort of share myself, and it's something I'm aware of, but maybe in a way subconsciously I might cater to a certain demographic on a certain platform, but it's really just, I think I'm just sharing, regardless of the demographic, when it comes to whatever content I'm putting out there.
Well, and for anyone listening, there's a few sites you can go to actually. And there's Pew Research, PEW Research, and there's Data Reportal. And these are sites that tell you who uses what social media platforms. And it tells you, what time of the day they use them, how many hours a week. So you can find your fan base. Usually, it's not too hard to look into your own analytics and see, who's watching my videos, who's buying my music. And you can actually go on these sites that like I said, a lot of people don't know about. I just found out about them a couple of years ago.
I just found out about them when you sent me that. I hadn't heard about them before either. So when you sent me these questions is when I first found out about it. So
yeah, it's something you don't think about, and obviously someone's out there doing the data to get the data. And we can all look at our social medias and you can check your analytics and see who's watching, who's listening, and stuff like that. Well, you can go on some of these sites and it'll tell you which platforms to use, because of course you want to be on as many as possible. Yeah. But if you find out a certain demographic doesn't seem to have any interest in you or your music anyways, and that's specifically who uses a certain platform, well, then there's probably better uses for your time and better ways to spend your time marketing and posting social media. So there's a little advice for me, and I thought maybe you knew about it. I'm glad I was able to help you out too.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So when it does come to posting the content, like I said, it's very platform specific. It's very appropriate for each platform. Whether it's text-based like something like X or Blue Sky, or more photo-based like Instagram and Threads, or the Facebook Reels, or the longer form like TikTok or YouTube. You always know what to post where. Obviously, you're good at this. That's why I have you on here today. But my question is, when it comes to those, do you sit down and think like, okay, I'm just going to do some copy for this one or this, or do you sit down and say, this is what I need to put out there today, and then do you do specific for each platform, or do you kind of like take one and then chop it up as needed? Because you always seem to know what to post where and when, and it's just incredible.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I think it's kind of a combination of all that. So like when I'm in an album cycle, I'll think, okay, we have the single coming out on whatever Friday. We want to tease it for a couple weeks. So here's what I'll do, 5 days on Instagram. I'll post each day with a different picture. Maybe it'll be like, we'll show the album cover this day. We'll put a behind the scenes this day, whatever it is. And then there's a caption that goes with it. And sometimes I'll like cross post that with Facebook, or I'll use some of that copy for Blue Sky or whichever, social I'm using, and kind of pull all from sort of the same kind of idea. It's not like I'm recreating for each one, but I'm kind of more catering to each platform through like the sort of core idea of what I'm trying to convey.
Well, that's a neat way of doing it too, because it kind of gives your fans that do follow you across the platforms almost a scavenger hunt, because they're like, oh wait, and then all of a sudden they see this piece, they see this piece over here, this one over here, and then they'll find the whole thing all together and be like, oh, I saw that on there, I saw that on there, I saw that on there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool that you do it and break it down like that. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I like being able to have different people can see different things in different parts. It's not just like, there's no point of following you on all few whatever platforms if you're just getting the same thing on everything, Well,
yeah, and most people have, just one or two or maybe two or three platforms that they check on a daily basis or several times a day. They might have, an account on every single one, but and they do that because, like they're on TikTok because they like short videos. Yeah. Or they're on Instagram because they like more photo-based stuff, or and so people are on those because that's what catches their eye, that's what interests them, that's what sinks in the best. So having the information for those people the way they want it, it's going to catch their eye. You know what I mean? Like you said, you write your copy and text-based stuff for this one, your photo for this, your reels for this, and that's perfect because like there's still a lot of people that'll post reels on Instagram, or they're posting a lot of pictures on Blue Sky and stuff like that, and you forget like, yeah, you can, but it doesn't mean you need to. Because people are on those because they want the content that everybody else is putting out there. That's what they like. That's what they're going to notice. If they see a reel on Blue Sky or something, they're probably going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. Or
if they just see some copy on Insta, they're going to be like, did they forget to load a picture? I'm not
Yeah, exactly. Every once in a while, though, I'll find like that'll make somebody stop scrolling on Instagram if you just see the the text block. You're just like, ooh, what are they saying? It must be a scandal or something.
Well, and that's one that's way overlooked too, is the colored background text block. Instead of just writing out your normal on a, you got your however many characters on a white background, do the ones like I've even done it where I'll write it out on like Facebook with whatever color background you want, and then I'll screenshot it, cut it down, and then use that as an image to post because you've got your copy, but it's not the same copy everybody else is writing, so it does catch the eye. So there's
exactly.
all kinds of fun little tricks once you start like, well, it's not stealing because I'm stealing my own stuff. So it just kind of repurpose stuff when you're able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, excuse me. Let's see. So, what advice do you have for artists that are struggling with social media, whether it's just social media in general or finding their audience, or they just unsure, they don't know where to start because there is so much out there?
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard, and I think something that an artist said to me recently was just, you got to give yourself grace and don't. I think mental health we're like everybody's teetering on the edge right now, and I think it's really important to be, careful, like cautious with yourself, or just like take care of yourself. And if something's feeling stressful or making you feel bad, like put it away. And a problem I think a lot of people have, and I've had this myself, is, you open whatever Instagram and you're just comparing yourself to other people who seemingly have, a bigger career or seem to have a lot more opportunities. And it's just like, people are presenting themselves in a certain way, and this isn't necessarily real life. So don't fall down that hole of comparing yourself to other people, because you don't actually know what's happening with them. And just really try to stay focused on your career and your vision, and not really like look to whatever, like worry about what other people are doing so much, even though I said, like sometimes I look at other people, see what they're doing. But I think comparing yourself is the thief of joy, as people say. So that's, I think, one thing that really can harm a lot of artists is that comparison. So really just try to have fun with it and try to just be yourself and not worry about doing it wrong, or that it has to be a certain way, or it has to be super polished, and who cares what people think, as long as you're enjoying it. Like other people will find, like those people will find you,
Yeah, like we were talking, there's nothing wrong with looking to researching. Look at some of these artists that are bigger than us. You always surround yourself with people that are better than you.
Right.
Basically, you need, it pushes you, it drives you. So seek out these artists, but we got to remember that most of these artists we look up to don't even do their own social media. They've got marketing teams that do this for them. Yeah. So you can compare and be like, yeah, I like what this artist is doing. I'm going to try doing that, but don't expect the results that they're getting. There's nothing. Try new things, reach out to people, make those connections, network.
Collaborate.
Don't expect the same results someone else got. It doesn't matter who you are or who they are, especially with social media, unless you're paying to push all your stuff. It's a lot of it's just dumb luck. is did somebody see it at the right time of the day? I mean, you can do as much research as you want, but the thing is like you said, you got to be happy with what you're doing, and you got to be happy with yourself, and that's not an easy thing to do nowadays.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
It really is. That's one of the reasons I've been looking forward all week to having you on. Is you're such a positive person. You've got a great vibe. You're perfect for the show. So I've been looking forward to this because I knew it was going to be a fun, positive day today. So I can't thank you enough for coming on. So
oh my God, thank you for having me on.
I'm definitely going to have you back on again after you got a couple busy months coming here, I believe.
Yeah.
So after that, we'll have to have another wind down.
I would love to. Yeah.
Tell me how everything went.
I will.
But so, I think we pretty much covered everything I wanted to. You got anything coming up that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, so we're going, depending on when this airs, we might already be on tour, but we're doing a couple tours. Like I said, I got a single coming out. It's a duet I recorded with Laura Stevenson. It's a cover of Poncho and Lefty, classic country song. So looking forward to putting that out. We have a video along with it. Everything is being edited and put together right now, but everything's been filmed and recorded and mixed and all that fun stuff. So that'll be coming out on March 14th. And then I'm working on a new full-length album. I have a bunch of songs written. We're playing them out live. Now we just started playing them out this week for the first time. So going to be playing those songs live and then getting into the studio at some point this year, TBD on the date. But yeah, that's what's going on over in Paisley land.
So how's the feedback been from playing the new songs for the first time?
Really great. It was really, really great. It was just that on Wednesday we played in Brooklyn and they were a hit. We just did two of them and they went really well, and the band had a lot of fun playing them too, and I'm really excited about these songs. It's a little bit of a new direction for me, which I never want to do the same thing twice. So I'm excited to explore this kind of new world with this music.
Do you want to get into that a little bit? We got some extra time, so tell us the new direction you're heading. I'm dying. I don't know either. I get to find out just like everybody else does.
Well, it's not as country. I've had a lot of different influences throughout my life. I've been influenced by punk music and a lot of 90s alternative, to Motown. I grew up playing classical music, so I have a lot more than just country and Americana in my, influence. So I'm really kind of leaning into that a bit more and just sonically being more experimental with these new songs and really exploring that and not feeling like I need to make a country record, So we're going to see where it goes.
That sounds awesome. I can't. You gotta send me some stuff.
I will. Yeah, definitely.
Come on. I get a backstage pass here.
Okay, you got it first.
I'm too far away to pop in for a show. So, well, that's awesome to hear. I love when artists, because you get comfortable doing something because it's just comfort is fun. It's comfortable. And seeing people decide no, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to put out there. I love that. I love when artists step outside of their comfort zone because that's when good art is made. It really is. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this new stuff. I'm really excited for you too. I'm glad it sounds like the fans are loving it. So I think that's definitely good signs, man. I'm happy. I'm really happy for you.
I think so too. It feels exciting to be doing something new and challenging, and we're having a good time.
All right. Well, you know what? I've every once in a while I've got a surprise question that I like to ask my guests.
Okay.
I think you'd be a perfect one for this.
All right. Hit me.
When it comes to the marketing side of things, whether it's an album or you're promoting a bigger show, like you're doing a festival or something, or big headlining gig, something like that. where does marketing end? Does it end on, because I mean, there's really no marketing world anymore. It's digital marketing, it's social media. You know, there's not a lot of print, there's not a lot of billboards or TV ads. So does marketing end on social media when you've completed that project? Does it end when you're on the stage, or does it never end? Like for me, it was always, I loved when I'd get done with the show and I'd get off the stage and get to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Because that was my favorite part out of all of it, was I'm just a people person. So for you, where does it end, or does it ever?
I love that too. I love that question. I think it's kind of both things. Like, you're continuing after the show, you're continuing to share and like celebrate more, So I guess ahead of it is when the whole push, the whole promotion, and then sort of the day, say if we're talking about a show, for instance, like a bigger show, the day of, you're kind of like, well, I did everything I could. Now all I have to do is play. And it's sort of like the pressure releases and you're like, I'm just going to go on stage. I'm going to do my thing and have fun. And then, I'm the same as you, where I just love talking to people after the show. Like I love the performance, and then afterwards just meeting everybody and hanging out. Before I'm just like super nervous before. I don't want to like see anybody or talk to anybody, and afterwards I'm like, hey, let's hang out, let's talk. Let's hang out the whole night,
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. It doesn't matter how many times I do something, whether it was when I was playing in bands or doing the podcast or any of the projects I do, right up to the point of when it's time, I'm just nervous. I'm an absolute wreck. My anxiety's horrible.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, this is what I do. Why was I nervous? This was stupid. And then when it's done, the party is like, oh, it's over. But then see, I'm a marketing guy at heart too. So then that's the fun part for me, is going out there, shaking hands, talking to people, talking to the other bands, talking to the venue owner, talking to my fans, talking to the other band's fans, and all of a sudden, hey, I've got 5 more gigs booked, and I talked to 6 people that had never heard of us before.
Yeah.
So like I always love, like, it's there's always that anxiety lead up to it. It doesn't matter how prepared. I don't think it ever ends, and I don't know if I ever want it to.
Yeah. It keeps it fresh. I had a piano teacher that was like, if you're not getting nervous, then you don't care. So it's good to be a little nervous before, I think.
That's true. I like that. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Paisley, I've had a great time. I definitely want to have you come back on after in a couple months, maybe. I mean, you got a lot of good stuff coming up here. I want to hear, especially after the new stuff gets put out on album.
Yeah, once I get some songs recorded, I'll have to send them your way.
Yeah, I really want you to come back on and we can talk about stepping out of your comfort zone. We have a whole great episode about that, I think.
Oh yeah, I would love that. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, again, like I said, thanks for coming on. Any last minute words of wisdom for all of us?
Last minute words: take care of yourself, have fun, and collaborate. I think collaboration is, a lot of times where we get magic when it comes to music.
Yes, absolutely. If it's not fun, stop.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not fun, you can just quit.
Whether if it's for an hour or a day or forever, if it's not fun, just stop.
Exactly.
Nowadays, just
best
come
advice.
On, man. Just live, have fun, and vibe. I mean, it's all you need.
Totally.
All right. Well, Paisley, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
An absolute great episode. I definitely want to have you back, and I'm dying to hear the new stuff.
Anytime.
I can't wait.
I'll send it to you.
Everybody, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.